Hello and welcome, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I am so excited for this new year to begin. As we move out of the Burr months, we're moving into longer days, sunnier days, and I'm all about that. So, welcome to my Enchanted Empath podcast and live stream. It's been a minute, and here we are going into, I think, the most important work of our lives, and that is in manifesting. And so, the new year is traditionally the time to set new intentions and goals. And winter gives us that time to reflect and rest, while those longer days ahead start to increase our appetites and our desires. So, make yourselves comfortable. Come on in. This is going to be a time for coaching as well. So if you have questions that come up, feel free to chat and ask those questions. So during our time together here, we won't necessarily be setting New Year's resolutions, but rather we're going to explore universal laws and spiritual teachings that will help you manifest sustainably throughout the year. So that way, we don't fall into the trap of those unrequited or New Year's resolutions that just lose their steam in a week or two, right? So this is deeper work. It's more, I would say, meaningful in all areas of your life that you can actually leverage these principles and laws anytime. Wash, rinse, repeat. These are tools at everybody's disposal. We all have access to them. And so my job is to kind of chunk them down, simplify them, and make them usable, readily usable for you, so you can pull out your tools, you can realign yourself. This is all about energy alignment and staying aligned more so than not aligned, right? I'll get more into that in just a minute. Yes, so let's talk about miracles. So I called this gathering 12 Days of Manifesting Miracles. And according to Webster's dictionary, a miracle is an effect or extraordinary event in the physical world that suppresses all known human or natural powers and is ascribed to a supernatural cause. Such an effect or event manifesting or considered as a work of God. Okay, so it sounds like miracles are kind of big deals outside of our control that happen on the external, according to Webster. Well, now this is where things might get a little controversial. What if I told you that you are God? What if I told you that you have all of the power, the same resources, all of the things that our source energy has? What I call us humans are God droplets. So God or source, this energy goes by many names, is everywhere and in everything, including you. So imagine, you probably have heard this analogy before, or this metaphor before, that source or God is being the vast ocean, and you are a water droplet in that ocean. So you are part and parcel of that ocean. You are made of the same stuff as the whole ocean. You're just one expression of that ocean. So, one of the questions I ask myself and my students is, where is God not? And why would you be so special to be separate from God or source energy? Why? It doesn't make any logical sense to me. And I believe that you are absolutely not disconnected, that you are always connected to this stuff. And it's the stuff that literally beats your heart, grows your fingernails, regenerates your internal organs, rotates the planets, grows the grass, and brings forth all life. It's the stuff the animals are plugged into, and the insects, so they know what to eat, where to migrate, when to mate. They don't have calendars, they don't have committee meetings, they just know. And they are just That's what we call their animal instinct. That animal instinct is that divine intelligence that runs the planet. That divine instinct that runs through the animals also runs through us. The difference between us is that we have free will and this superpower called imagination. And so we humans are creators by design. By design. It is our design to create. We're the only creatures on the planet who have these faculties. Think about that for a second. The animals, as far as I can see, don't have imagination. They don't have the ability to necessarily create outside of their instinctual or instinctual patterns, and we do. And therein also lies the rub. That is part of the reason why a lot of people have a hard time manifesting, because they don't understand the power of their imagination or their power of intention and creation. There's a phrase that I live my life by, and a lot of you know it. It's know thyself, and thou shalt know all the mysteries of the gods in the universe. And this is attributed to Greek philosophy, particularly the Oracle of the Delphi, but the source is really unknown. But it is a philosophical perspective that is ancient and real. And so my job in what I do is reminding people of their inner brilliance. So reminding you of your divinity, reminding you of your God dropletness, the nature of your creative being. And so once you remember your inner brilliance and who you really are and what you're made of, you will be able to manifest miracles with purpose and intention. And then miracles will just become your norm. So they won't actually be these big, giant, sometimes catastrophic, big burning bush things. You'll just call them manifestations, and you can intentionally turn them on with just a thought. So we are manifesting 24/7 by default, all of us, all the time. And I'll explain that process in a minute. But the amazing part of this is that when we can master our mental abilities, when we can focus and redirect our energy and our minds, we can move mountains. We can do anything. And Tony Robbins even says this. He says that the greatest thing that you can do for yourself is learn how to master your emotions and master your mind. It is the difference between being successful and not successful, or being, living by default and living by intention and creation, and just flying by the seat of your pants. I have been on both sides of this equation. And as a person who once upon a time, and sometimes still do, fly by the seat of my pants, I have learned to hone that recklessness or that lack of intention or direction into something that is more stable, comfortable, and then the results are amazing. And the more I learned about manifesting, the better I get at it, and the better I can teach other people how to harness their own magic, their inner magic as well. So, yeah, the next 12 days, we're going to be breaking down these spiritual principles and universal laws one by one. We won't spend a whole lot of time on each one, some longer than others, but just so that we can chunk this stuff down, break it down into bite-sized pieces that make sense to you, so that when you are out of alignment or you're not in the manifesting place and things just aren't happening the way you wanted them to, now you'll have 12 tools in your toolbox to crack open and say, okay, what needs to be tweaked? What needs my attention? And that's all it is. And so there's nothing right and nothing wrong about this process. We're all different. But what I want to give you are these tools so that you can redirect yourself and get yourself back in alignment with the things that you're wanting, right? And so we can do this with grace. We can do this with ease. It doesn't have to be a big deal. And we never have to berate ourselves for falling off. We always have a do-over, a mulligan, a start again process. So this process isn't about perfection. This process is more about the mastery of redirecting and managing your own mental processes and your emotional status. So instead of being swept up by the storm that is around you, the external forces, the breakups, the job losses, the big things, the little things, and having them paralyze you, now we can get into a better, stronger stance of saying, okay, this is happening. And we can find our inner peace and we can be still and we can know that we are God. We are part and parcel of God, and we can redirect our own energy and move it into a different direction. So we can literally transform the energy around us and definitely inside of us. So we can't necessarily control what is going on out there, but we can always control what's going on in here. It takes practice, it takes time, it takes a lot of love, and it takes some discipline to be able to do this well. And because we're humans, we're always going to have things that are going to knock us off our center. And knowing that and agreeing to that and being okay with that, I think is a part of this big process. To know that stuff will happen, things will come into your life, and I do believe that they come into our lives for positive reasons to help us really get to our holy grail, and each of us has a very different holy grail, but to teach us the lessons and the life lessons that we came here to learn. And so I do believe that there is a conspiracy here to help everybody. And so instead of seeing things as, frightening or catastrophic, big situations, we can start to see them differently. Of course, we're still going to experience the pain and the suffering that comes with that stuff. But my goal is to lessen the pain and the suffering around all this stuff and redirect our energy so that we become better manifestors in the things that we're wanting instead of the things that we're avoiding. We're going to talk a lot more about that. So let's just talk about the 4 steps to manifesting. And then we'll get into today's topic. And then again, if any of this isn't making sense or it's going over your head, don't worry. We're going to be talking about this stuff in great depth over the next 12 days. And of course, you will have opportunities to ask questions and have conversations with each other about these things as well. So the 4 steps to manifesting in simple terms is 1, ask. We ask for the things that we're wanting. We're going to be focusing on that today. The second is aligning. So aligning ourselves energetically with the things that we're wanting to manifest. 3 is allowing, and allowing those things to come into us and relieving ourselves of the blockages that we have so that we can receive. And then 4 is taking inspired action. That's where intuition comes in. That's where listening to our higher guides. That's where automatic writing. That's where a lot of different things come in so that we can be aware of the signs, the answers that are coming to us so that we can take those steps accordingly. So for the next 3 days, though, we're going to be focusing on the asking step. And so what does that mean? Today's principle is desire. And desire is the first step in asking. Desire is an interesting concept, and I see this play out so differently with my students, my clients, and myself. Desire is essential and it's natural. We are all born to desire or to want to grow, to evolve. It's our nature, right? Yet I see so many people squash their desires. And I'm not talking about those short-term dopamine hit desires. I'm talking about the nudges and the hair pulls of your higher self or your inner being directing you to your soul's purpose or to something bigger that is creating a yearning or a craving, something that you it's not easily dismissed. It is a part of who you are and why you came here, right? And so those desires are always showing up as those stepping stones to get to the higher realms, to get to our higher place. And to, I think our ultimate purpose here is to share our gifts with other people, to share our gifts with the world. And so everybody has different gifts, everybody has a different purpose for being here. So everybody's signs or messages are going to come in differently, right? And we will talk about that towards the end of the 12 days. So one of my favorite writers, Anais Nin, wrote, "My hair is being pulled by the stars again." It's probably my favorite one-liner. And when your hair is being pulled by the stars again, it's a calling. It's your soul's calling. It's to your life purpose and to your life lessons. Your spirit helpers or your spirit, depending on what your philosophy is on how you receive those messages or who they come from or where they come from. Another topic, and we'll get more into that when we talk about intuition. They first begin with a whisper, and I think no matter what your philosophical background is, that we all have these experiences where you can probably identify with this, where you kind of have this feeling, this gut feeling, this nudging, this knowing I should go in that direction, or oh, I should go away from that direction. And we hear a whisper. It's very subtle. It's like, oh, that's not good for me, or oh, go in that direction. Oh, that requires a move. Different things. They come all the time. And then, we get caught up in, that's going to be too much work. I don't know if I can afford that. I don't know if I can do that. Up in the house, basically. And so we ignore it, we squash it, we put it to the side. And then we get what I call the hair pull. It's a little bit stronger, and then it becomes more undeniable, where it's like, geez, where is this coming from? Why do I feel this so strongly? And then in my experience, when I start feeling those hair pulls, that's when I start really paying attention, because it's like, okay, this seems to be a dominant thought or a persistent feeling inside of my body or in my knowing that this is correct for me, or this is the direction that I need to go into. And then if we don't listen to or address the hair pull, then sometimes we can get a gut punch. And then we get bigger and bigger, bolder signs to get us where we ultimately want to be. And here's why, we are energetic beings, and there's a broadcast happening inside of you always. And there's a broadcast that is from your soul. There's lip service, and that's also a broadcast, but then there's a deeper one, or many deeper broadcasts happening from your spirit, from your soul, wanting certain things or aspirations, dreams, desires, tangibles and intangibles, who you would like to be, how you would like to show up. All of this stuff has been working within you forever, since you were, at least in this lifetime, since you were born. And so this broadcast is always going on. And we live in a responsive universe. So this is what I know for sure. We are these energetic beings. We live in this energy soup, so to speak. Some people call it the field. Some people call it source energy, divine intelligence. It is everywhere. It permeates us. We are it. There is no escape. There's no escape. And this communication is always happening with us and that field, which I call the universe. And when we are broadcasting those eternal desires and our lip service desires, the universe is responding. We're like magnets. We're like these antenna. We're always broadcasting, and then the universe is giving back, so that we are receiving what it is we're putting back. So there's this two-way communication happening with us and the universe 24/7. And so this is where it gets sticky, because there's 24 hours in a day, right? And even when you're sleeping, this is happening. And so what happens is, when we're not conscious or aware of the new things that we want to manifest, we get caught in these habits and these cycles of manifesting the same stuff over and over and over and over. We get caught in these loops because we're not active participants anymore in the manifesting process. Now we're just manifesting by default. We're flying by the seat of our pants. We're getting the same old stuff over and over and over and over again. How many of you can relate to this? I know I can. That's what drew me to this work, because I wanted to change that. I wanted to get out of those self-imposed loops that I was not even aware that I was creating. And so once you become aware that you are creating your reality, and that you are the creator of your manifestations, all of them, the good ones, the bad ones, the shitty ones, the fabulous ones, a lot of people will take credit for the amazing ones, but we have to take credit for all of them. And then the ones that we are not liking, the ones that we are not wanting, we can shift our energy and we can manifest differently. We can attract better. We can attract differently, but it starts with our consciousness. It starts with our observing our thoughts and knowing what is going on inside of our heads and inside of our hearts, inside of our spirits. So this is all about know thyself. Know thyself, and you will know the gods in the universe. That statement to me is profound and true. And so when you get into a place of self-awareness, then you can become a very powerful manifester. You can get into a place where you can co-create with your higher self, with your soul and the universe. So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces with this. But it's all very simple. Now, is it easy to practice all the time? Not always. But once we get into a practice, like I said, practice, it gets easier and easier. So let's talk about today's principle. And today's principle is desire. I think I already said that. Desire is a big deal. It's the beginning stage. It's step one of the asking process in the 4 steps of manifesting. And so when we can get clear on our desires and maybe stop lying to ourselves even, and settling for less, or settling for status quo, or settling for what our culture and our society and our parents and everybody says we are supposed to want, when we can get clear on our purpose and what we really want, then we can manifest like gods and goddesses. That's how we're wired. That's what we're wired to do. Now, I wish they taught this stuff in school. They didn't. So that's why I teach it now, because it is so important. I think it's our biggest life lesson to really learn and understand our power as creators and co-creators, manifestors in this incarnation as human beings. It is fascinating and it can be so much fun, and it can really be a healing tool as well. Like when life happens, those external situations that knock us off our rockers, that we can heal ourselves quicker by using these tools that we're going to be going over the next 12 days, and repurposing, redirecting, getting out of the hard part sooner. Of course, we're going to be there for a second or a minute or however long it takes until you can get into the practice of getting yourself out of the funk faster. So that now we can shift the vibration, shift the frequency, become a different point of attraction, and allow better, attract different, right? So not only is it a tool to create these wonderful lives, but it's also a healing tool. It's one of our biggest healing tools. And I don't think a lot of people really talk about that aspect of manifesting, but I think it's one of the perks and benefits for sure. Okay. So today's topic on desire, I'm going to keep it kind of short on that. I don't want to censor. I want everybody to get into the place, maybe even pull out your journal and just free write all the things that you are wanting to manifest for 2024. I want you to just go wild with it. We won't be censoring it right now. We will be editing it and looking at it and tweaking it a little bit later. But for now, this is a data dump. This is just getting it all out. What do you want? Who do you want to be? What do you want to come into your life? You know, and keep it based on what you want. Most definitely keep everybody else out of your equation for now. So this is all about what I want for 2024, who I want to be, how I want to show up, the tangibles that I want, the intangibles that I want. Looking at all aspects of your life, from health, well-being, your spiritual life, money, job, relationships, family life, all of it. So maybe you can take an aspect of each quadrant and just free write all of the things that you're wanting for 2024, and put all of your attention, all of your awareness, and don't censor. Whatever comes out, put it on paper, okay? And then I also have a couple of more maybe probing questions for you. And I will put these in the notes as well, so that you can, if you're watching this later, you can just copy and paste these and put them in your digital journal if you have one. So what do I really want? And then ask yourself, why do I want that? That's a good follow-up question. We'll get more into that one later, but keep it light for now. Where in my life have I quit or settled for the status quo? That's a big one. Where in your life have you settled or quit or just said, well, I guess it's just not meant to be? Where have you said that? That's going to be a big focus. And how does that make you feel now? Are you okay with letting that slide? Maybe you are. Maybe that's perfectly fine. Maybe that's appropriate. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you just kind of told yourself some stories to get out of that, or to shift it up, trading it for something else. So maybe it's something that you have let go that you would actually like to bring back. So write those things down too. And then ask yourself, do I want to change anything? What in my life would I like to change? What would I like to see changed? How do I want to be in 2024? And then maybe for the last one, this could be what's trying to emerge. What have you noticed about yourself that you've been like going, what is this? What has been trying to emerge? What new things have been getting your attention and making you pause and say, what is that about? Do I need to explore that more? Right? So today's simple exercise, simple yet profound exercise, is step one in asking and writing out all your desires for 2024 in all of the areas. Okay. And whatever just comes up for you. No censoring. All right. So the next part of this is to absolutely treat this list, this journal entry, as a work in progress. We'll be going back to it later, but for now, it's just writing and enjoying the process of getting these desires out, trusting your heart, opening up your heart, letting those desires flow, even especially the ones that you have maybe squashed or put aside on a shelf for a later date. Bring it all out. Bring it all out. Just write it all out. And then maybe take one or two and bask in the desire and see yourself being or having those things as if they were already here from the end way. And if you have difficulty doing that, no big deal, because tomorrow we're going to be going over your number one manifesting tool that each of us has, and that is your high-powered imagination. So if you have a hard time imagining any of the stuff that you're writing today, don't worry about it. Tomorrow we're going to get into the whole aspect of everything imagination and how it is your number one manifesting tool. So for today, add your dreams and your desires to your journal as they come to you. Have fun with it. No censoring. And no, I don't even care about your spelling. Nobody's going to see this except you. Just get it out. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for being here, everybody. Peace and love.